Hello, welcome to the Pint podcast, where our powers pish, but our pints aren't. To introduce ourselves, I'm Caden, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dino.
Hi, hello. Welcome back in the new year 2021. Episode 21 as well. So let's
Yes.
sock 'em together.
So, end 2020 with episode 20 and start 2020 off with 21.
That's how you do it.
We totally didn't plan that, and I'm actually being serious.
Aye. Wasn't until we went to record this that we were like, hang on.
Hang on.
But aye, thankfully 2020 is gone. We had a fairly decent New Year's considering the lockdown and whatnot.
Yeah, we did it like online with quite a few others. There was at least 15 of us at one point, I think. There was quite a lot. Maybe drank a bit too much. Who knows?
Yeah. and I was good. I think we played some Among Us and Jackbox, a few of those party games. And it was all good. It was fine. And then it was like shortly after the bells, that's when it took a fucking sour turn. We were all just extremely drunk.
There was just six or five of us at one point of like completely different friend groups, just talking absolute shite. I think there was a time that I was just so drunk after finishing off my bottle of vodka. After finishing off the bottle of vodka, I was just like staring at the screen and had no clue what the fuck we were doing. I think I tried to set up draw.io to play it, and it just would not work for me. I can't even mind we did play it.
I don't think. Wait, I can't remember. My mind's.
It was pretty. It's pretty fucking grim at that point.
Oh man. Oh, we survived.
Yes.
We actually survived 2020. Wasn't the best year, as pretty much everyone knows, but there was some good stuff from it.
Yeah.
Especially music for me, anyway.
Okay.
So have you got a favourite album of 2020?
I do, and it's a fairly obvious one, and it's probably the only actually new album that I listened to, and it's the Song Machine album. Is it called the Song Machine album?
I think it's Song Machine, like season 1 or something like that.
Well, basically, there was a ton of songs that came out for it, and it was a lovely album because we were, for a lot of the main videos, I think that like 6 or so songs came out before they released the whole thing.
Yeah.
In like a lot of them in video form. And they were bangers, and then the rest of the songs came out as well, and I quite enjoyed a lot of them. They definitely felt like very Gorillaz, like especially modern Gorillaz, and there's so many to cherry pick. What I liked, like one that I didn't expect to suddenly like and catch on was is it actually called Pac-Man?
I think, is it called Pac-Man, or is that who features in it?
So, well, it's the song they play Pac-Man in, and the tune just goes bim 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 bim. It's very like.
I think it is called Pac-Man actually.
Because it's very like gamey. It's like it feels like a retro game tune, but it doesn't. It obviously does not got like the bit sound to it, like the 32-bit sounding.
You're not gone all the way.
Yeah. And I unexpectedly really liked that, but I liked a lot of them. Like Désolé was a really good one. I know you really like Désolé. There's others like Pink Phantom's a really good one, featuring Elton John. That was a really good one.
Yes.
Very unexpected.
The whole thing. It goes nicely.
Oh yeah.
I mind. We actually sort of had like a listening party for all the tunes once it properly dropped.
Oh, I think one we both especially liked was Strange Times. and
Yeah.
the music video for that one is essentially just them going to the fucking moon. As some mad lad is singing about some
Over
fucking
Smith.
shit, man. Um, I think one of my personal favorites, and
I
it's
love that one. The
a
amount of
punk one.
references in that music video.
Hmm.
Oh, there's a bit of lag. Aye. The amount of references in that music video for Strange Times.
Oh
Like
yeah, like
Space Odyssey.
yeah. But I think the song that might actually take the cake of all the songs that were released in the Song Machine, and it's one that you're not particularly a fan of, but it's punk, and I'm not super into punk, but I really like this one. It's called Momentary Bliss, and it's just
Oh
got
yeah.
sort of an ecstatic feeling every time I listen to it. But yeah, that the whole Song Machine is great. The Now Now was great. It's definitely been upside since Humans, which was a bit of a weird Buffer main album. But yeah, the Song Machine was a really, really good album to listen to. And it was nice how it's coming out like week by week at a time. And I'm glad to see they'll be doing a season 2 of it, because they marked it season 1.
Yeah. It's interesting to see what they're going to do from here on.
I did notice
Um,
a lot of the videos they did. Obviously, we're in COVID times and it's harder to do like animation and animate stuff. But unlike a lot of the prior music videos they've done throughout the years, I would say it was very subpar. Like what the animation they did have, it was like high quality, but it's subpar in the sense that there wasn't a lot of it, and they would repeat a lot of animations like in the Pink Fan, and whenever the pink
yeah.
glob comes through the door, they would just flip that image. They would constantly flip back to 2D, playing the same piano thing. Unlike you would go and watch, like, let's say, Humility, where it's entirely new animation, there's no reused. Same with Feel Good Inc. Even though there's some reused stuff, they have a ton of new stuff. It's all like original. But like as I said, it's to do with COVID. There's not much they can do for it. They can't really like have multiple people working on it. It'd be harder. They just want to get the music out and still have animation as limited as it was. That's my take on that.
Um, wasn't I can't remember what the date was when the album dropped the full thing, but I didn't like quite a few music videos for the other songs come out after.
It did after like I think the Valley of the Pagans came out.
I think that was one of them.
It came out 23rd of October. The Lost Chord is the one that's the most recent one that came out, and that I always felt like that was like a Plastic Key Beachy song. And funnily enough, the music video for it is literally them going back to Plastic Beach. So
Mm,
yeah,
nice.
I think
Yeah, I never caught that video.
Kabaka, James Ford, and Leslie John are on that one, featuring like Lee John is his name. That's the one they featured in Lost
Mhm.
Chord. But I like that album. I really like that. How about yourself?
Um, well, before I move on, what was I going to say? I one of the you might know him, Anthony Fantano.
Hmm.
Um, the probably I think he is the most popular music reviewer. He was doing reviews of like all the songs when they were coming out, and then he did an actual like album review, and he was loving it actually. I think he rated it higher than the last album, Humans. I think he gave it an 8 out of 10, which is fucking solid score.
Yeah.
So he was loving that whole album, and I we briefly mentioned talked about this before. There was another song that came out on it, but it's only on the Japanese version.
Only the Japanese version.
Yeah, because I think
Oh, is it Taxi Back to the Reykjavik? It's in the Japanese deluxe edition.
yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Do you know why they do that?
Why did they do that?
It's because in Japan they're trying to entice people to like actually go and buy the physical copies and actually buy the deluxe edition in
Hmm.
person to stop them from buying the albums overseas because it's cheaper.
Ah,
It's meant to be enticing to
I see.
you get these extra songs if you buy them here locally. So
Yeah.
it's happened with quite a few albums. They do that regularly.
I'll need to give all the Gorillaz albums a proper listen through in order one day.
Oh, yeah.
I did it quite a few times, like driving places, but obviously since I don't have any road trips anymore, because the last time I actually listened to old albums on a road trip somewhere was to Heavy Metal Haggis, I think it was. Is it Heavy Metal Haggis? I can't remember what it was called. That festival. But aye, but as it sounds like, how about yourself?
Aye. So my favorite album, and I suppose now's a good time for me to crack the first tinny of 2021, at least for the podcast. There we go.
I'll crack open my water.
Aye. So in terms of my favorite, man, like I each year I'm always making a list of all the good albums that stood out to me. I've been in that for quite a while. So in terms of this, let's say this year, we're kind of in terms of 2020, there was a lot of good stuff, man. There really was. Mac Miller came out with Posthumous album that was fucking very good, quite touching, considering his passing. Fucking Lorna Shore dropped fucking banger. I've been looking forward to that one because they went with singles they dropped. Tame Impala, popular. But there's a lot of stuff that you obviously hear is being planned. Like, okay, we're working on this. We're gonna drop it. There was a lot of albums that I was looking forward to hearing. Some of them weren't as good as their prior albums, such as which I actually thought would have been my favorite album. Trivium dropped one. They dropped it called "What the Dead Men Say," and it's a really good album. I think it's fantastic. But I don't know. I don't think it's as good or as much a ripper as the Sin the Sentence was. So it doesn't actually make my favorite album. Fucking Enter Shikari dropped some heat this year. I think that's up there. That's definitely up there as one of the best. Fucking genuinely, there's a lot of stuff, man. I could rattle off towards the end of the year. Kid Cudi, banger of an album. Fucking Joji put one out. Deftones, Buried Tomorrow. Fucking, there's a ton. But for me, favorite album is by Thundercat, which is expected if you know me. He dropped his titled "It Is What It Is." Man, I love it. I absolutely love it because I've been a fucking huge fan of him for quite a while now. When I seen that the album was coming out, I was waiting. I was waiting for a new one because it had been a wee while since he dropped "Drunk," which was 2017. And I think this was an early year album. But I pre-ordered it, got it on vinyl, and it's very nice. It's lovely. It's got to be that one, man, because like every single song for me just it's amazing. There's different vibes as well, different types of songs. So some of them are really bouncy and groovy, like happy, and then there's some other ones that are more mellowed out. And
Yeah.
but, yeah, that's got to be mine. Good old Thundercat.
That's good. Would you say he's your favorite artist?
At the moment, yeah, definitely. at the moment. He's um, just fucking most listened to favorite artist.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't listen to regularly that are some of my favorites. Because the amount of like new stuff that I end up browsing
Mm-hmm.
every time it's New Music Friday, I'm like scouting,
Yeah.
scouting for some new stuff.
I suppose.
But
Well,
I
I think with I didn't mention it when I was saying my favorite albums, but I think some honorable mentions, and the reason I didn't actually mention them is because they didn't come out in 2020. I only listened to them in 2020. I've listened to a lot of metal albums in 2020, but I think the one that takes the cake is Metalocalypse's the Death album, and they have three of those: the Death Album 2, and Death Album 3. But I think the Death Album, is my favorite of the three. It's just got a lot of like good metal, and one of the songs that comes from it, made the famous Batman metal music video. Um, what is it even called? Because I know there's Mermaider, and I know there's Awaken. But the first one is maybe it is Mermaider. Oh my. Well, either way, the song that was on it made the famous one where Batman's just cutting about beating up folk. Because I know the sequels to those, Mermaider is literally Batman saving
uh,
Aquaman, and Awaken is literally he and the Bat family are trying to fucking revive Joker, assumingly the same Joker from the Arkham series. Just the way he's animated, funny. But yeah, that's how I got into Metalocalypse, because they are the guys that do they did the Adult Swim show, Death Clock as well, I think it's called, and it's just a
mhm.
bunch of guys cutting about in a mansion, that are like big metalheads and really famous, and they just don't know what to do, like with their free time when they're not gigging. I believe there's an episode where they're like, guys, we're posers, we're too famous, we gotta go back to basics, we gotta do free gigs, and you just see them cutting about in like these like shitty fucking small like halls and shit, and they're giving like drink tokens and that. I'm like, oh my god, that just reminds me of the before times. Drink tokens? You're telling me we get money specified for drinks? Amazing! I love metal. I love Death Clock so much. But yeah, I really like their music. It's what sort of pretty much got me into metal properly, I think.
Aye. Don't they feature on your playlist? What's it called again? Iron Beats.
Yes,
That's the one you've got.
I can tell you now. My Iron Beats are like 50 odd songs.
Mm.
Um, oh my, where are you?
You'd say that's your most listened to playlist that you've made. Uh,
Yes, Iron
you,
Beats.
you normally chuck that on when you're at the gym as well, don't you?
Yeah, saying that though, recently I've been trying to listen to more podcasts and stuff, so like it's been on a lot less. I've also been trying to look for more music to add into it. Like the latest song I've added to my playlist is, apart from the Doom one that I found on my Discover Weekly, Death by Demon Hunter, and Come Hell or High Water by Native Construct. But yeah, I like a lot of these songs. Some that were actually recommended to me by my pal Matthew, Duran Gray. I quite like their music as well.
Ah, yeah. I'm pretty sure they not come out with stuff in 2020.
I think so. I've yet to listen
I
to it
think.
though.
Um, me and Matthew have got a playlist that we actually started last year called 2020 Vision, which is just compiled of all the bangers that came out. Anything that we think is fucking really good jumps in there. And I think there's probably a Dirt and Grey track somewhere in amongst the. I think there's genuinely like 300 songs. It's quite mad. But we've been compiling all those bangers, and we actually started another one for this year. We did a wee separate playlist of our fucking top fives,
Aye.
and yeah, yeah. we did a wee um, we did a wee like small playlist for our top fives, and I think both of us sort of agreed that best song, like individual song that came out in 2020 is Annihilation by IO and Lights.
Mm.
Absolute heat.
Speaking of music as well, didn't Spotify recently introduce the broadcasting thing where like a multitude of people can like go on this playlist and all like
Um,
sync up songs put onto it and shit.
yeah, it's
It's only for
can't
premium
remember
though, just now.
what it's called, but it's in beta mode. But yeah, you can sync up um your Spotify's uh to whoever's hosting it and just listen at the exact same time. So if you skip, then it'll skip for them. Blah blah blah. You can
Hmm.
have stuff to the queue. It's really good.
I think the funniest thing to come out from that, and I managed to somehow hear the music as my man was playing Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, is
Mhm.
somebody had stuck on Minecraft music, and he was saying, "It's like, my man's, I'm tearing off people's head and killing bears and other Vikings with my sick ass axes, and I'm hearing Minecraft music in the background going, bah, 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 bah,
It's sneaked in the
bah."
queue by one of us.
It's amazing.
Mhm.
You put some absolute stinkers in there, and people will be like, "Yo, you just took me out of my mood, my jam. The vibes are gone."
The vibes. Rest in peace, the vibes. Aye.
Um,
But is there any other things that you want to
music
music wise?
wise, no, but audio wise, yes. We haven't mentioned this, but I think both of us have upgraded or at least changed our audio input output here, our
Yeah,
microphones.
that's right. New
So
year, decided to get
yeah,
a wee upgrade, I guess.
after using my new PS5 mic for the last episode and hearing how bad and shit it was, I decided I was going to get something that made me not so, redliney.
Yeah,
And hopefully I sound not too bad with this. It's same mic Andy was using, or Andy is using, and he recommended it to me.
big up Badger Shell.
Big up.
Because prior to this year, I've been using just my phone and
Hmm.
just a bit of headphones, regular headphones. But now I've upgraded, got a cheeky headset mic.
Yeah. Like, I had a slight worry with getting this microphone. I got, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be good. I got a microphone, and I realized, wait, how am I gonna listen to the audio? I was like, ah, fuck. And then I was just like, oh wait, the audio for my other mic that I used for all the episodes was fine. It was just the microphone that wasn't working. So I took the microphone out, I plug it in now, and I hear perfectly. It's comfy. It's what I'm used to, and I just use this beautiful mic that I'm speaking to right now. It's so good. It's really above
Sick.
subpar. It's above average. Nice ASMR moments with the Pint
Oh,
Patter
fuck's sake.
podcast.
Nah. Uh, let's skip over that.
Turn off now if you don't want to continue.
There's certainly some other bits of news as well as our new mics.
Yes.
Um, in terms of this is actually one from last year. Um, and fucking MF Doom, the one of the greatest. Your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, as he's known by.
This
MF
reminds me of
Doom.
your Weed Man's a Weed Man. One of my
Uh,
favourite lyrics of all time.
mm. Well, MF Doom passed away, and I think the news broke on New Year's Eve actually.
Hmm.
Uh, went online, but it turns out he actually passed away on Halloween.
Which makes it
But
pretty much a whole month prior.
they they didn't say anything
Yeah.
until then, which was it was quite a shock for me, because he is generally like one of the best um, rappers, one of the best lyricists. Some of the stuff he does is crazy,
Mm.
crazy good. Um, So obviously I've been blasting some of his stuff since. But
Yeah.
a lot of people need to listen to MF Doom if they haven't before, because there's some genuinely really good stuff.
I hadn't heard of him until his passing.
Mm.
I didn't realize he was so big.
Yeah, he's one of those like kind of underground in terms of hip hop. Obviously, you've got the big names and that, but he's there and he's well known, but he's not. Um, but that was a shame.
Okay. Um. Well, with that sad bit of news, a little more depressing. Not a little more depressing, but a little more like living standard depressing is uh, the lockdown that we were put into as of my birthday has
Oh,
been
mate,
extended to possibly mid February to even bloody past March. Damn, bro. It's like
shame.
it's not the end of the world, but like it's like I just want to see my bros.
Want to hang out with the bros.
Just get these vaccines
Drink.
rolling.
We were out because I think the news broke on a Saturday. We were like literally just out. I think we were in the car heading to town, and when it came out like in the news, um, and we were like, hold up, does that mean we're not drinking next weekend?
Yeah, it was at a point where I wasn't really listening on the way there, and I got out and then we met up with somebody, and they were like, yeah, so are we doing your birthday drinks today then? I'm like, no, you're not available next week. He's like, no, because it's lockdown now as of next week, and
Yes.
I'm like, what? Excuse me? It was the perfect 21st day.
Oh man,
It was a Saturday. Damn. But
dang.
alas, I had my absolute freak out concoction night out on that night.
Mm.
It was quite enjoyable actually, yeah. But yeah, like hopefully, like of course, like with lockdown, there's been a lot more cases up here actually, which is not
Yeah,
too good.
in terms of like in comparison to this lockdown was the last one back in fucking March. Um, I'm actually knowing a lot more people that have caught it, and I know a lot more people that know people who've got it. So the numbers are definitely a lot higher up here than they were before.
Uh,
So it's
because
got
this new strain is apparently 50 to 70% more like passable or it's just not sustainable, but
very
like
contagious.
contagious or something like that. Like it passes through masks more effective, not masks, but for the air more like effectively.
Mm.
That ain't good.
No, but we'll see as time goes. I think originally what was it planned for 3 weeks lockdown, but it's
Yeah.
getting extended.
Yeah, to the end of this month to maybe mid Feb, and if things go even shitter, then the month after Feb. You worry?
Yeah, because they've still got to like take in the numbers from Christmas Day.
Yeah. Well, all I can hope for is this vaccine to work, and hopefully we can get back to a little bit of normality. I do expect us to
Yeah.
still keep on wearing masks even after the pandemic's over, just for general like sickness and that, because that's what the Japanese did
Mm-hmm.
to not get the flu and stuff, or not to pass on stuff to others. If they were sick and they had to go somewhere, is wear a mask.
Yeah.
And it's for the West, like some people just can't afford to get sick, whether it's like about being as strong as they used to or not. It's
Mm-hmm.
just for the best, really.
Yeah. Well, since we're locked in terms of some online bit of news, um, you know the game Rust.
Okay.
It's a fairly old game, isn't it?
think it's been around counting about since like 2013, maybe even a bit older than that.
Yeah. Well, recently there's been a server that's opened up. I think it's called. I can't remember what they called that actually. Uh, but they made a big like 200 odd people uh, server, which is just for streamers. So like all the popular streamers and just even some of the lesser known streamers are in this server. I've been watching it so far from Noah J's perspective. Um, but there's tons of other people. Fucking Ludwig, I think, is on it. XQC, um, fucking
Yeah,
Valkyrie.
I thought it was a bit weird when one of the streamers I used to watch, who was just Apex. He only did Apex Legends. His name's Shiv
Mm.
FPS, I think, or something like that. And he just started playing Rust out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing in Rust? It's a bit obscure. And then
Yeah,
the next day, you were telling me about like, oh, this there's just so many streamers in this one
massive
server. And
server.
I'm like, what? Yeah, because I used to watch Rust. I quite liked watching like people play Rust, like Zuckles back in the day. I just thought his style of playing was funny because he'd go around menacing with people. But I have no idea how their play style is on the server, what they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's a fucking fantastic idea. I feel like it kind of stemmed from maybe, but it kind of stemmed from Among Us. You know how that
Oh yeah.
blast on the scene, and that actually opened up a lot of like uh, different YouTubers like actually uh, doing videos together because they're in the same Among Us lobby of like 10 people. The people that you wouldn't expect to do crossovers or all that stuff. Um, so because of that, because even fucking Sidemen
Hmm.
started doing videos with like PewDiePie and all that because of Among Us, which is pretty crazy. Wouldn't have happened it had Among Us not been out. I feel like part of that idea of different YouTubers or different streamers working together that normally wouldn't. You'll see that in this Rust server. Like for example, um, I don't know if you watched Syndicate play Daisy. This is yonks ago. Absolutely
I would
yonks.
have caught a few clips, and I didn't really watch his stuff after
Mm.
Zombies and that.
Uh, well, he played Daisy for a wee while, and one of the guys he met on Daisy, a guy called Mr. Moon,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
which was quite iconic. There's some iconic videos of that. Anyway, I was watching Noah play this Rust server, and he comes across these two guys, and bloody hell, one of them was Mr. Moon. I was like, bruh, what the fuck? I haven't seen that man them in fucking so long, and he's just in the Rust server. So I think it opens up a lot of opportunities. This for content, for clips, all sorts.
Okay. Well, that's a bit more light-hearted than the other two, but
Yeah.
back to being a bit more depressing with copyright issues is Shueisha is rolling that out on Twitter, and if you don't know what Shueisha is, it's basically the printing company, I think, for a lot of manga like Dragon Ball and all that. But basically, the dealio going on just now is they're not only taking down accounts that are relating to these stuff, but if anybody uses like GIFs and other photos that even look like the characters, they get immediately striked and removed. I think some accounts have even been locked and just straight up removed, and it's gotten to the point apparently where even staff members of Shueisha's accounts are getting locked out simply
Mm.
because they've got stuff on it, which is it's bad enough to say. Is like this shouldn't be happening at all. Like they're within their rights to do this, but it doesn't make sense from a user like a user's like view because all you're doing is turning away more people from your product,
Yeah.
and it's it's weird, and I don't know how they're going to sort this out. It's a very weird thing. I've seen one of the guys I follow for like One Piece related content has changed their name from Arter, the Library of Ohara, to the Library of Ohala, and like changing certain letters. So there's like One Piece related stuff to other things, and they changed like their profile picture, which got copyright striked, to like a badly drawn reverse colored one.
No.
And like whenever he talks about One Piece now, he'll be like, "Oh, Two Piece. Can't wait for Buffy to do this. He's a stretchy boy." Sort of like stuff, and it was pretty fun. He even drew like a really badly done panel of one of the latest chapters to be like, "Yo, I can't believe he did this special move, haha," sort of stuff. It's just funny that people have to resort to this. And speaking of copyright stuff and Twitter just stopping certain things, I seen that one of the statements Twitter made about completely stopping white supremacist stuff is they won't do it because a lot of politicians will be blocked out from Twitter. I'm like, well, isn't that sort of the point? If they're saying these bad things and they're not supposed to be saying, then get them the fuck off the platform, like Donald Trump. Like, Christ. On a bike.
I just remembered the other bit of, like, kind of copyrighted thing that went on. Fucking, what's his name again? I've forgotten. But he's streaming, and there's like he's listening to a tune, and they're like, "Oh, what you can do because of the copyright with Twitch." So he's like, "It's alright, boys. It's alright, boys. I've got this." Audio jungle.
Oh god, yeah. Oh.
That clip.
Ooh.
What's his name again?
Jerma.
Jerma.
It's amazing. Funnily enough, he did a New Year's thing called the Game Awards for himself, and he let all his fans and viewers vote for like certain things and categories. Like, what is the worst noise you've made this year? And that didn't win because that wasn't the worst. The best category though was the audio jungle. And you should watch it, mate. For like, it just contains the funniest things. Like, one of the things with Germa as well is he'll pull off these stupid faces at the weirdest times when he doesn't mean to, and he always looks at like the screen to the left of him, seeing like the stream like cut back to 30 seconds before that. So he sees the face and he's like, "No, don't mean that, no," and it gets memed.
Oh man,
that's funny. I love Germa.
Fucking hell. Was that Audio Jungle clip? That was from 2020 as well.
That was during the actual Game Awards. So I think we talked about this before when we were mentioning the Game Awards, and I think it was episode 19 or something, going over it. I think how I watched Game Awards was completely for Germa, and it was a ball, absolute ball. Like, it was just, for the first half an hour, it's him debating with himself and the viewers, like, should I be watching this? I won't get DMCA'd. No. They said it was okay. Somebody told me it was okay. It's like, should I? No, it's okay. I don't care. I don't even care. Do it. Strike me. But really, should I? It was just half an hour of that, and then it got to that bit, and that started the fucking audio jungle. But nah.
Outrageous stuff.
Yeah. Well,
in terms of other stuff we watched, what about movies that you watched for the first time in 2020?
So, for me, let me get my tiny little list up. Yes, it's tiny.
I have got a small list, actually.
So, I watched The Imitation Game, which it's beautiful. I believe that's the one that has Benedict Cumberbatch playing as Alan Turing, and he is a very important historical figure in the fact that he helped develop the world's first computer during, I believe, World War II. And basically, that film really goes through the struggles of this man who was diagnosed like years and years after It was discovered through like a lot of his writing and how people described him that he was most likely on the spectrum. He was autistic, and that's why in the movie he was played very well. He was very like he took things literal. He didn't have much of a humor. He was pretty much a more realistic Sheldon Cooper, which is not bad.
Yeah.
And it was a really sympathetic movie for him, and like seeing how smart he is and how much he got like abused and stuff, and how he outsmarted his other smart people, his other mates basically, because he gets put on a team of other folks to try and crack down this code, the German encryptions, and he's trying to decrypt it. Hence why he moved on to try and making a machine that's capable of doing it for them. But yeah, The Imitation Game, that was a superb film. It got me quite tugged at my heartstrings. How about your shell?
I think in terms of from 2020, there was only like 8 films really that I watched for the first time. I'm not a massive movie guy, but there's a lot of stuff I need to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But we watched American Psycho quite early in the year, I think.
I don't think it was quite early. I feel like it was about just August time.
Is it?
Yeah.
But we watched American Psycho, which is one of those sort of classic films that a bit of a must watch. So we got round to that, and yeah, I thought it was great. It was fantastic.
Oh,
Prior
yeah.
to watching that, I'd only seen the one scene from like just a clip online, and it was
Yeah, it was September. I just found a message saying fancy American Psycho today, and I said no, and that was back in September.
September. Oh Lord, it feels ages ago.
But aye, no, that movie's it's really good. Very vague.
There's we were searching it up after. There's like it's up to you on how you interpret it, whether it's real, it all happened, or if it's in his head or all this stuff. Maybe parts of it is, parts of it isn't. It's nice. It's good. It's not a normal like obvious. This is what it is. Kind of.
Yeah.
Ending. But
It was just
good performance. Well.
Yeah, like just how I feel like what was it? The start of the film that had him in the bar, right, going up to a waitress, and he's just ordering his drink, and it just suddenly it doesn't even change. It's just him going, "Yeah, you fucking do that, bitch, or I'll fucking smash your head in." And it's just him like speaking to himself in the mirror, and she comes out goes, "Here's your drink, sir." So we just immediately like take in the fact that that didn't actually happen. That's just him and his basically wanting to say that. So like a lot, like it's very difficult to try and decide what's real and not in that film.
Aye. Yeah, I was quite impressed with that one. What other films?
Well, one that I was always weary to watching because I'm not a fan of like. There's this guy who's a really badass person, and back in his years, he was the top assassin or mercenary or soldier, and now he's back for revenge. And this movie I'm describing, a lot like Davers, is John Wick, and I went into it thinking like I didn't really like Keanu Reeves as an actor. Like I haven't seen him much. All I've seen is the memes really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'll watch it and see. And the choreography in it is just superb. It can get emotional. Story wise, it's not out there, but like it's decent enough to like follow. But I think what takes the cake is all the interactions your man John Wicks has with people in the film. So like, there's just really odd moments of him seeing people and like, oh no, how are they going to react to this guy that's just killed a bunch of folk, or like he's just beating somebody up, and it just turns out he knows them from his like past gigs. So like a cop comes to the door after like he's killed a bunch of men who's invaded his home, and he's just like, oh, John, you up to your old business again? He's just like flashing a flashlight around your building, and you just hear John Wick in the corner of a room going, yeah, it's been a tough night, so I'll leave you to it. There's even like moments where he like hires like the people who normally came to like take up and clean the bodies back, and they're like, "Oh, you certainly back in the game, John?" It's like, no, no. It's like, "Oh, it was always a service working for you. Clean up your shit and all that." Just sort of like the character interactions are really like unique and nice in that film, and it takes away from it just being like out for revenge story. Like your man John Wick is out for revenge, but he's still a good person because he retired.
Mhm.
He wanted to be done. But yeah, I really like John Wick, and I want to see the films after that, but I don't know if it can actually surpass the first film in terms of what I liked about it. Like, I've certainly heard it's had better like fight scenes and choreography than the first one, but like, it's not all about that sometimes.
I know what you mean. How many of them is there?
I think there's three.
Uh,
There might be a fourth, I don't know. There might be a cinematic universe, who knows? John Mac, John Wick and John Mac,
John Mac.
John Wick and
Mac
Bruce Willis team up in Die Wicker. It's a horrible name. But another one from yourself?
Another one that I finally got around to watching is a film called In Time. Now this is one that features Justin Timberlake.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the main characters in this, and I had seen clips of certain parts of it online before, which intrigued me into watching it. So I finally got round to it this last year. And the sort of idea behind it is that everyone who exists has like a clock, like a timer on their like wrist, for how long they're alive for, and essentially from when you're born until I think it's 25 when you're growing up, the clock doesn't start at all. The timer should say, and then once you hit 25, it will start counting down, and I think you get like a day or something. It starts off with a day. So you've got to like work to earn time back. As soon as that timer runs out, you just drop dead, but you stay alive, as like your prime self, your 25-year-old self, for however long that your timer lasts.
Mm-hmm.
So the part of the idea is like there's these sections of the sections of America. I guess based in America. There's these sections of America where it's essentially like section 1's like the poor people, and then section like 8 is where all the rich people who have like literal fucking 1,000,000 days or something just on their timer. And it's meant to be like quite a corrupt system that goes on. Like it very does like take all that stuff away from the poor. So it's quite interesting. You know, what's his name from Big Bang? Oh my god.
Joss Whedon.
I can't remember his actual actor name, but he plays as the guy that went out with Penny.
Oh, the buff guy.
No, the main guy.
Oh. Oh.
I've forgotten his name in the fucking show.
When I said Joss Whedon, you know he's the guy that's always like the big famous actor they made.
Is it?
Yeah, the Star Trek guy. No, that's the American film director. Who's the other guy in Big Bang Theory? No, the guy you're thinking of.
Galecki.
What?
He played Leonard. That's the guy.
Oh, Johnny Galecki, yeah. I'm thinking of Will Wheaton.
Ah, right, I see. But no, he's Johnny Galecki. He's in this as well. And I just thought like the actual concept of the film was really, really interesting. So finally got around to it. And yes, it's great. It's a very solid film. I enjoyed it.
Reminds me of the Black Mirror episode that has a similar concept
Mm.
of this black guy who's got like I think there's a timer in his room, basically money, and every time he goes to watch something or do something, he gets ads, and if he wants them to go away, he takes like money off his thing. If I think it hits zero or something, he dies or he gets taken away somewhere else. So if he wants to earn more money, he has to go to the workout room, and like I think by working out it powers the thing or gives him money.
Right.
But yeah,
What else have you watched?
I'm quite a fan of horror, so I've been looking forward to watching this for whenever it came onto a streaming service, and it is A Quiet Place. And I really enjoyed it because I watched it on Netflix, and I was going into it expecting some things and be like, how are they gonna, what are they gonna do now? How are they gonna work this? Because the concept of the film is, some monsters have like sort of like taken over the earth in a sense that if you make a noise loud enough, they'll come towards you and kill you if they know where you are because they can sense it and hear sounds. So the general idea of the main cast is that they're all silent throughout the film, and they communicate to each other through sign language. And one of the things that's drawn me towards the movie in the first place was the main guy, the dad, is played by John Krasinski, and he is the guy who plays Jim in The Office and that, and who does the Tom Clancy TV show now. And it was really enjoyable in that film. I think he actually did it with his wife as the mother in it as well. His actual wife was in the film, and the film was really enjoyable. Like one of the things they did as a way of preventing noise through footsteps is they would have a massive trail of sand everywhere they go, because it would make as much noise. And they had all these contingencies for stuff because the wife's pregnant, and they had to figure out, okay, how are we gonna have this bairn? Which I've seen some people point out, is like, why are you gonna have a bairn in a place like this where if the bairn is crying, these monsters will literally come running miles away to come kill you. But yeah, it's a really good film. I don't want to say anything else because it pretty much spoils it. But what I've said is basically the premise of the film. Wife's pregnant. These monsters are after them. Blah blah blah. They gotta have contingency plans and stuff and figure out how to avert these things. But yeah, it was a really good film. It's also like really emotional.
I've seen a lot of people talking about that online when it came out.
There's a sequel now that I need to watch as well.
I suppose we should talk about some other horrors that was watched. And yeah, me and you finally got around to watching the classic Halloween from 78, 1978, the first one. We finally got around to watching that, and prior to that, I was never a massive horror fan in terms of like watching them. I kind of enjoyed them a bit, and I never watched them a lot apart from like Saws. I've seen some of the Saws earlier, but it's only like recently that I've been kind of like, oh, I actually want to watch a lot of these classic films. So we finally got around to watching Halloween. And yes, it's quite funny looking back on it.
Oh yeah.
Fucking now, obviously back then it might have been quite more scarier, as was the first Jaws. Fucking Jaws aged quite terrible.
Oh, it did.
But it was quite decent.
Yeah.
You can tell it's old. There was a funny scene that we were laughing at that shouldn't be funny, but it was when your man was tailing them in the car, and the two girls were like talking to the dad,
Yeah.
and they pull away, and you just see in the background,
Yeah.
you see in the background, he's sat in the car driving it with a mask on.
Oh. Oh
Oh,
no.
there's something so funny about that. Oh. But I'm sure we'll get around to watching
Some of the sequels, yeah.
watching sequels and watching just other fucking horror
Yeah.
films. Another one we watched, which was off of your recommendation, Zodiac, right?
Yes. Um, that was a good one because it was mostly based on the fact that it was a real event. It was retelling of a real event. It was describing things. Essentially, some gadget that was extremely smart and had the equipment and the tools to do it went around killing folk and leaving like these notes that are meant to be like decrypted from him, of which some are still not decrypted today. I think one recently was, but the film was just really in depth of like this guy who I can't tell is he was a reporter or he was a writer or something, and he just suddenly took a really big like interest in the Zodiac killer, and he was working with this this cop or detective, who was played by Mark Ruffalo. I think isn't it Jake Gyllenhaal that plays the main character, the writer?
I think so.
Well, basically,
Yes, it is.
yes, and basically, a lot of the murders in it, like the beginning of the film, sort of just starts with like the whole, oh, I've got my girlfriend in my car, we're driving to this peak, and we're like, yo, yeah, 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 and then like, oh, this is how it all starts in horror movies. They get killed, but it turns out the guy lives, sort of thing. I was like, what? The guy lived for being shot so badly, and then, which is funny enough because he appears later on in the film, much older, and he's played by the fucking one of the McPoyle brothers from Always Sunny. It was weird seeing him. The other murders were at this lake where this guy just got stabbed in his back, and the wife was getting stabbed, and she turned and she got stabbed in the stomach, and she died in that. And more kills started happening, and it just got to a point. It's like they're just trying to figure out a routine, like some sort of relation. Like it was just fucked. Like they could not figure it out. And the writer, it was more. It got to a point where it was more focused on the writer's dilemma in life, focusing too much on the Zodiac killer, and even his family started leaving him because he's too like he's just too fucked up from thinking about his obsessions. Just, whoa,
Yeah,
all that.
it was quality. Um, I one of the things I was saying that that I enjoyed probably the most was your man Jake Gyllenhaal. He was like from as the film progressed. Um, he at first he was quite interested in it. He was like, oh, what's that? You know, what's happening? And he was kind of in and about. And then as the film progressed, he just got more and more like obsessed with wanting to know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought that was a nice watch. He really did like get fucking obsessed. uh, aye, great film. Nice to learn more about that actually, because I went into that not knowing too much about Zodiac. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah. Um, another film I watched, which is American History X.
Mm.
Mate, I love this film. I think this one came out in late '90s, and the premise of it is there's um, there's this kid. He's I think in his teens, and he's been essentially influenced by his brother. Um, so he's like quite racist. He's very racist
Mhm.
against blacks, and um, the film sort of goes off of the big brother who actually has like a swastika tattooed on his chest, right?
Yeah.
um, it revolves around how he was like extremely racist and part of like groups and stuff. And he went to prison for murdering a black guy,
Yeah.
which is like that's the start of the film. You see that happen, and then it sort of goes off the story of this of his younger brother, and it's trying to uh, one of his teachers, or I can't remember his role was, but he's sort of trying to um, untaint his mind, because he's still quite young. Um, and it's really interesting because obviously it tackles all that stuff. Um, and during, I don't want to say too much because it's a really good watch. Um, but there was two powerful scenes in that whole film that generally had me like gasp. I was like, oh my god. I ended up recommending the film to Stephen, who is who also very much enjoyed it. You just watch the same for those scenes.
Hmm.
But yeah, it, it was quite mad. I think I watched the ending like twice just because it was like powerful.
Yeah. I need to get
Uh,
that on my watch list.
I recommend. Uh, what else was watched?
Well, I was just having a skim for my Netflix there, and I seen. I watched two. I rewatched quite a few Studio Ghibli films last year, and two of which were actually new. I'm only going to mention the one because I think this one's more like relevant and uh, just really good. It's called Porco Rosso, and it is about a pilot during
Mm.
some sort of war during World War I, and essentially we find out he's like a pigman thing, and nobody else is are pigman things at all, and it's weird and shit. And he's like this like sort of like raunchy like smoker who drinks and like seduces this one woman a lot, and essentially I think he's been cursed because he loved somebody. I can't quite remember it, but essentially he's been cursed, and he's just cutting about as a pilot, sort of like a mercenary at times, and he one of the lines in the film that I thought was really good. It was just him sitting in a theater with one of his mates who's in the military, and he says, "I'd rather be a pig than a fascist," and that's just mate. But I think the general concept of the film is he's running away from the military because he used to be in the military. He's running away from these guys who want like to kill him basically because he's fucked with them, stealing like a bunch of kids and shit that they had kidnapped. Um, he eventually gets a mechanic on his plane to help him, who turns out to be a little girl, which he's quite roughy with because he's like old fashioned, like oh, girl, women should be helping me. But he eventually accepts it, and it's just a really well animated scene. That's movie, sorry, that I didn't expect it was going to be as good as it was.
Mm.
So it was a really good first watch of it. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Nice one.
How about yourself?
Um, aye, there was so if you mind from can't remember which episode it was I was mentioning, but I had uh, that all nighter that I pulled to try and fix my sleeping pattern.
Mm.
And in that time I'd watched like a ton of films just in a row, um, which included American History X. But there was a few sequels that I finally got around to watching. It's fucking three in particular, and so I'll kind of rattle them off. Sort of briefly, Jumanji, the next level. I think that came out fucking 2019 probably. But I finally got around to that, which I thought was actually really good. I thought it was a good sequel. It's solid. Um, don't know if it's better than the first. Maybe it's about the same as quality, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I really enjoyed that. Seeing fucking uh, your man Danny DeVito as well.
Oh.
Um, he featured. Uh, he didn't feature too much because obviously they go into the game and the the souls of Danny DeVito, the guy he plays as, is there, which is quite interesting to see. The four of them um, acting as different people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed that sequel. Another sequel, Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Got around to
Hmm.
watch it. That yeah, again, I thought that was funny as fuck. I think quite a few people didn't like it. It's weird, not great, but it's a fucking it's a reboot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the film they kind of they meme it, and it's not a sequel. It's not a thing. It's a reboot. Blah blah blah, and it's I enjoyed it. I did enjoy the jokes. I think the first one was better, to be
Yeah.
honest. But the second one's also enjoyable. Yeah, good laugh out of it.
Oh yeah.
The other sequel that I watched, Zombieland Double Tap,
Hmm.
which came out. I can't mind, like 7 years after the first, or like 10 years after the first, something like
Hmm.
that. But I, yeah, again, I thought it was a solid film. I quite enjoyed it. It covered did quite a lot of the good stuff that it did in the first one.
Hmm.
The actors were good in it. Just decent film. Glad I finally got around to watching.
Yeah.
And you watched this is the first Zombieland, didn't you?
Yes, I watched it for the first time properly. So it's not like I hadn't seen it. I watched my brother watch it. So I watched like first and like I think the last bit. I didn't see like the middle bit. So I watched it properly for the first time in December. Yeah, that was quite good.
Mm.
But as for movies that I didn't want to watch initially over the years, but I seen a lot of people like up it as a really good film. And like fuck it, this is gonna be my Halloween movie. This is gonna be the movie I watch for Halloween, and it was Adam's Family. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be pish in it. And
Mm.
I watched it. I'm like, bro, this is amazing. Because I'd also watched the animated one they did a few months prior to that,
Yes.
and I watched it and I was like, the designs are for the Adams Family themselves are accurate to the comics, which is okay. Everybody else is just completely ass, and the film itself is sort of ass, so it's lifeless, if that's to say anything. I could watch it, but it was definitely lifeless. But I watched the original, the famous one, the Adams Family movie with your man who plays Doc Brown in it, playing Fester, and I thought it was a fantastic film. I was laughing at it a lot. I enjoyed a lovely Chinese bit. It was just really funny. The jokes really hit. So like in the film, essentially, we see the Adams Family quite a bit, and we see that they're mourning, or at least the father Gomez is mourning over the fact that his brother's been missing for years. Like, oh Fester, oh we used to hate each other, but I wish you were here now. And eventually, we get this guy who's like, I need more money. My tenants are the Adams Family. I need more money. I know they have money, but they won't give me money because of the old traditions. I need money. So he hires this like old biddy in the. Well, not hires. I think they know him actually because they need money from him, which is why he's needing money. So so the woman's like, oh well, I'll just set my boy for him, and it's Doc Brown, and this like he looks like Fester but with hair, and they all decide, oh, what you should do is you should disguise yourself as Fester and invade the home and find out where they keep their money, so we can steal it, and that's basically the premise of the film. But as the imitation of Fester finds out, this family's kooky and crazy, and quite strong. Like Gomez is a fucking extremely strong sword fighter, and the children make these really like obscene jokes. Like she asks Fester like, "Oh, can you pass the salt?" And the mother's like, "Wednesday, mind your manners. What do you say?" "Oh, okay. Pass the salt now." Because they're just fucked. But no, the other thing with them is that they're always trying to kill each other as siblings as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an extremely crude and dark film, and I'm surprised it was even allowed for the time it came out. But it's amazing. It's actually amazing. I could recommend it as a Halloween movie.
Yeah,
The
definitely
sequel as
class.
well, actually, I watched the sequel as well, Adam's Family Values, which I don't think it is as good as the first one, but it's still quite entertaining.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'll I'll add that into my back catalogue of things to do, things to watch.
well, you have time till Halloween, so.
Aye, plenty of time. Um, another one that uh, we watched, Eurovision. Story of
Oh, yeah.
Park we got into watching that. Um, it dropped on Netflix, and yeah, I heard some good things about this film. Like at first, I wasn't interested. I wasn't too interested, just because like what the actual story was about. I wasn't quite interested, but I heard a lot of good things in terms of Will Ferrell and uh, just some funny scenes, and it's just all around good. So yeah, we finally got around to watching it, and I I would agree. I think it's a good film. Um, but I think some people might be offended by parts of my opinion on this film. I don't think I would watch it again, bar like a couple of scenes, um, because there's some elements of it that is quite like musical, and where they just like burst out into song, and do not, I can't stand those types of
I
scenes.
just imagine musicians do that anyways. Do you not do that?
Hmm?
I just imagine musicians do that anyway.
Nah.
I just imagine Metallica in their own house just suddenly burst into song. Why else
Wow.
would they record their stuff?
But some of those stuff I wasn't too fond of, but a lot of the humor was fucking really good. And it is a good film. It's a solid film. Um, my God, the what was it? The fairies.
Oh my god, the gnomes.
The gnomes.
The gnomes are fairies something. They're small people that live in the houses that we don't see, apart from one particular scene where we still don't see them, but we know when they're real.
That was fucking amazing. That and yeah, yeah, ding dong.
Play Ya Ya Ding Dong! Play Ya Ya Ding Dong now!
But we already played it.
I do not care.
Play yeah, yeah,
Oh,
ding dong. It's
amazing.
good.
Um, you know what? I'll probably leave one of my. I've got a few more actually. I'll talk about quickly about these two films that Disney released. I think they're both Disney. Is I watched for the first time this year. I had to have watched it for the first time because it only came out on no, yeah, not this year, but in 2020 because it came out on the 25th of December, and it was Soul, and by God, it's a beautiful looking film. Set pieces are wonderful. It really experimented with art style and stuff. And I really liked the story of the film. I feel like if it was a smidge longer, it could have fleshed out a lot more things and made it a lot more emotional. And maybe they touched on a bit more things. But overall, it was a solid like 8.5 out of 10. It's amazing. Solid 8.5 out of 10. I couldn't recommend it more if you like music and if you
Mm.
want to like face a lot of existential questions and stuff in a movie. That film did it really well. But a movie that I watched for the first time in 2020, and I watched it twice in the year, was Coco. Once by myself because I didn't know what else to watch, and Disney Plus was still new to me. And I watched it, I think, again last week. Oh, it wouldn't have been twice in the year then, because I watched it this year, so it was the once in the year. I watched them relatively like after each other. So last year I watched it for the first time, and it's also a film about music. It's
Mm.
about the Day of the Dead, and it's just about how a boy who was brought up in a family who all hate music told him, "You can never play music. Don't play music. If you do, we'll destroy your music stuff." Basically, and they're shoemakers. But obviously, this boy, Miguel, I think his name is, or something. Always wanted to be a guitar player and that, and he eventually curses himself by stealing a famous guitar off somebody he thinks his dad is, and he gets sent to the other world basically, and he's got to figure out how to get back, and it just goes through a lot of like wonderful like music, and some emotional moments that I think actually impacted me more than Soul did. I would rate
Right.
Coco as like maybe a 9 out of 10. Those two films were really, really good.
Um, in terms of other stuff I watched, I think there's only really like one other film that I've watched. Um, and then there's one other that I watched like 20 minutes of, and then and then just fucking came off because it was so bad. But I Black Klansman. That's the last film I watched out this list.
Aye.
And yeah, we got around to watching that. I can't remember when, but there was a lot of good things being said about this, and what's his name? Adam Driver.
Oh yeah.
His performance in this was fucking excellent, absolutely excellent, and yeah, that was great because the actual the idea behind the film, and I think it's based off a real story.
Yeah.
Um,
Excuse
it's
me.
based off a real story,
My mic
and
fell.
I,
As you're saying.
it was based off that a real story of someone called Ron Stallworth, who essentially played um, on the phone. He plays as a white man, and they're trying to like infiltrate the KKK to try and um, bring them down and arrest some peeps because he's a cop, he's a detective.
Yeah.
Um, so he this guy, um, the actor's name, but he plays as Ron Starworth.
John David Washington.
Mm-hmm. Um, and whenever he's on the phone, he's pretending to be white. And Adam Driver plays the like physical version of him whenever he's going out to meetings and this and that. And yeah, it's just I really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. That was great.
Like I initially watched it being excited for Adam Driver, but I actually, even though his performance in it was amazing, I actually much preferred Ron Stallworth's John David Washington's performance in it.
Mm.
Just the way he like just how he like obviously Adam Driver's character, like he's got much more memorable moments, like the time when he's chasing Ron off and he says a particular bad word, and it's like you're like, oh, he's trying to act like this and he's trying to get off certain situations, but you got I found more nuance, like him being on the phone convincing somebody, and him at the end of the film doing his stuff amongst the racists and all that sort of stuff. I felt more drawn to that, which surprised me. I really liked the whole film was just really good.
Yeah. Did you say you've got more that you watched?
I do. I have maybe one or two more I can mention. So I'll mention swiftly. I watched. I think it's Leica's Missing Link, and I didn't pay as much attention as I should have to it because it's actually really well animated. Because Leica does much like Coraline and other films, they do like the puppetry things, and they take the pictures of it and they continue and continue. So it's different to Wallace and Gromit where they're clay and that, but
Right.
with Leica they use like puppetry and stuff. So like they've got like basically like action figures where they remove arm, they add on, they take off the face, put another face. That's how they do the lip sync. Um, but the Missing Link was quite good. It's got Hugh Jackman as the guy who finds basically a Yeti, and the Yeti's played by Zach Galifianakis, or however the fuck you pronounce that. You got Stephen Fry in it, quite good. But yeah, Zach plays the Bigfoot, and it's actually quite funny and quite good. Because it's basically about how this guy trying to find something to prove his worth to like this League of Gentlemen and stuff, and he finds the missing link. But yeah, I really like that film as well. But the film that probably takes the cake as a person who doesn't even like Christmas films is Klaus. My God, that is one of the best movies I've seen this year and probably my life. It's got your man J.K. Simmons in it as Klaus, who is basically Santa Claus. But the film has been on the run for about the better half of about 7 years, I think, until it got released. It's been developed. And what they were trying to do with it is because it was being developed during the prime years of 3D movies making its like turn. It's like 3D movies only, no 2D, no 2D. So they're going to be like, well, we're going to make this movie, we're going to work on it for years, and we're going to make it look amazing. So initially it had not great lighting on it, but the 2D animation was fluid, it was amazing, much like any like Disney movie back in its golden days. But they added on this lighting to it that just made it look all the more fucking phenomenal. That's just the animation aspect of it. The premise of it is done well. The characters, the locale. So it starts off with your man who is the son of a famous postal unit, who is like sort of like not proud of his son. He's like he wants his son to do better, despite him failing at many of the postal trainings, and he decides, well, son, you know you failed, and you know you want to stay like you just want to mooch off me basically, but I'm going to make you become worthy of my name. I'm going to send you off to this place as a postman. And like from the telling of his own like officers who heard this, like, you're sending him there, you're sending him off over there. I think it's some Scandinavian place, and if it's Scandinavian, you probably know who's going to be there. And he goes there, and he's like getting travelled there. I think the guy that takes him there is quite entertaining as well. He's just really like dry humour, and he discovers the place is in like a feudal war between these two clans, sort of like similar to the guys in Borderlands 2 that are like constantly fighting each other, and they don't know why they're fighting each other. They just fight each other. And this Gadget here rings the bell, which causes like a big fight, and he declares that he's the new postman of this area, and like new postman, he won't last more than a week. And during the first week, he gets no post or anything, and it just develops into this whole thing where he's like he's only doing this to go back home, to live like nice. The place is really cold. The place where he's got to live has holes in it, so he's constantly cold. It's like always snowing. He's basically not living in the usual like luxury. And it just develops into this beautiful like character development, like trying to make the two like families of the town work together. He meets with this basically Klaus, who is Santa Claus before Santa Claus becomes a thing, and like he works with him. He doesn't get the credit for delivering gifts, but Klaus does, even though he's the one that makes them and stuff. We find out that Klaus's wife is passed and all that sort of stuff, and you're like, oh. Man, it's just such a beautiful film. I'm never one for like Christmas films and that, so it's really, really important to say that this film actually worked for me.
Nice.
And it'll be my new yearly watch.
Ooh. When it's Christmas time.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, very good. Really enjoyed that film. And I've recommended it to a certain sibling, and he better fucking watch it. Don't judge it by the cover. You've learned from your past mistakes. But I know a couple of people who've also watched it and really enjoyed it as well. It's just a phenomenal movie, and it's probably going to spur a lot more 2D animated films to come back, because by God, I fucking missed it. I love 3D movies, right? I love exploring like more aspects of 3D that can do, like Spider-Verse. That had amazing visuals and experimented well, but I just want my man's 2D to come back. I just want, not from Gorillas, but my man's 2D animation. I want to see some, like, anime still does it. They don't venture into 3D at all because they can't really afford it. And every time they've done it, it's horribly fucking failed, like Berserk. But I think Studio Ghibli's even adventuring with a new 3D animated movie that actually looks well made. So I'm worried for Japan now. But yeah.
Just want 2D back.
I feel like pure shite. I just want 2D. Like, I think the last Disney film that did 2D was 2009.
Oh my.
That was Princess and the Frog, and that wasn't even well received. And then it was Tangled and all that came out after that, and Frozen.
Uh,
I think the whole reason that 3D became a big thing is because you would have heard of it. Treasure Planet was a movie, a 2D movie. It was really, really good. Same as Iron Giant, that was a really good film. But they both bombed. They were noticing a lot of the 2D films were beginning to bomb, but the 3D movies were getting up the box office stuff, mostly because it was a new medium, basically, that they were using.
yeah.
But I think that if they were to bring back 2D and just make it look as wonderful as possible, it would still bring in the box office numbers, mostly because a lot of people are just missing it. A lot of older people as well. I'm not older. I'm still fairly young. I am 21. I'm edging towards old.
Getting there.
Getting there. Yeah, I'll end my little tangent on that there.
Well, the only other thing I've got that I watched, and I only watched 20 minutes, which I said prior, it's Good Boys.
No.
That I think it's directed by and written by Seth Rogen. I don't think he appears at all in the film. At least I don't know because I didn't watch far enough. But my God, I did not enjoy this at all. I'm not one for like stopping a film, and like not watching. I normally sit through them. But that the humor, shite, just mate, can't I can't explain. It went for a certain type of humor where it being like these kids who don't know like a lot, so that they're kind of stupid, but they're kind of just young and unexperienced with a lot of stuff. But a lot of the jokes just didn't land for me at all, and it was just nah.
Must have been me. Must have been similar to me when I was watching Bad Boys. None of those jokes landed with me. Probably enough because it's called Good Boys.
Good Boys, wee bad boys.
It's funny if I go watch Good Boys and I like it because you like Bad Boys.
My God.
But
that's it. That's my list.
That is it.
Stuff I'll watch.
Yeah, this is a new year. There'll be more stuff to talk about. Hopefully, don't scrape the bottom of the barrel. Hence why we've done this slightly new structure. So instead of the usual four topic structure, one main, then news, then favourite, and then the last topic, we're just gonna go on tangents, just try talk about more stuff, well, letting examples tie us back and stuff. Talk more things. That
wraps us up then for episode 21.
Yes. Unless you have anything else to say, I'm done.
Not really. We watched Queen's Gambit.
Oh, we watched Queen's Gambit, but we can talk about that next week.
Yes.
Sayonara, my dudes.
Bye.